So here's one, man. As a Texas music fan, I feel like there are artists. I'm not going to name any names, but I mean, we can both kind of guess who they are, and so can our audience. But there are bands and artists out there who are known for party songs and up tempo dance type songs. There are
Hmm.
artists out there that are known for kind of sweet and vulnerable ballads. And then there's the select few who are very adept at doing both of those things. I feel like you are one of those select few that's
Oh, well,
able
thank you.
to put out a party song or a drinking song or a dancing song, but also show the vulnerable side with a ballad. Is there a strategy behind releasing those types of, different songs?
Man, I tell you what, I don't know if there's a strategy, and if it is one, I haven't figured it out, right? But it for me, it's some of our best songs, and this goes back to Polygamorous. Like some of our biggest records were not me sitting down in front of the piano or in front of a guitar holding the guitar. A lot of like Rattle Your Bones came from a jam session. Like it literally came from a jam session. And I remember the exact day that song was wrote. So a lot of it is what feels right, what feels natural, and the other part goes back to I do have a lot to offer in my music as far as, I love harmonies, I love beautiful big lush chords, and so when it comes to a ballad, like it's one of those things where it's like I want to accentuate all of those elements of it,
Hmm.
into a song. So as far as the strategy goes, and again, and I'll keep saying it goes back to just artistry and growth in your artistry. It's I'm married to the song, and not. And I used to try to, like I said, I used to try to play that game. Hey, we need to put out this type of record. It's almost summertime. We got to put out a summer song, and
Yeah. I hate
you
that,
know,
man. I hate that.
yeah, like it's just like now, and I get it. We've all done it, but it's now you just realize none of it matters. It's about if the song is good, the song is going to have legs. It's going to crawl where it needs to go. It's going to run to places. People are going to play it if the song is right.
Hmm.
And so for me, it's just the focus is completely 100% now of hey, let's make sure the song is right. And
Do you feel the initial emotional attachment to music when you were just a youngster in church really serves you well now as an artist when you're
yeah,
trying to get
because
those that message out there with your music?
Yeah, because you're charged with I think as musicians we forget there's a you know we owe we owe all the artists that have given us music that has helped us through times to commit to making records like that. Like sometimes I'll listen to a record that just floors me and I think to myself I don't even have the mental capability to make a record like that.
Hmm.
Right? Like because it's so emotional, it's so it or not emotional, emotive. It just has such a strong currency about it, right? And then you just pray, man, God, just help me. If I could touch somebody the way that song touched me, I'd be completely happy. And then every once in a while, you'll make a record and you forget about because again, you're steadily trying to make records and write, and you have somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, your song, that's the way you make me feel," you know, like has really helped me through some of the darkest time of my life. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
And when you hear that, it is probably the most beautiful thing that connects me back to that experience of seeing my mom sing or learning how to play my first song
And that's
or
success, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it really is. And I hate to sound like, oh, if one person loves my song, that's all I need. Yeah, like, but it really is true because there's been many of records that have gotten me through a lot of dark times in my life and tough situations in my life. And what an honor to be able to be, your music is the catalyst to help people get through some things.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, music's all about human connection anyway. So
100%.
First of all, like if you're touching somebody's life, most of the time they're not going to have the courage to come up to the artist and say that hey, you touched my life. So when somebody does have the courage to do that, then you have to know that there are some that are not telling you that it's also touching. So
yeah, for sure.
Because I imagine probably for everyone that comes up to you and actually says something, there's probably a dozen that don't. You know what I mean?
Man, I never even thought about the ones that don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. People tell me all the time, I stream video games live sometimes, and somebody once told me, you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening. So even if there's nobody in the room, or there's nobody, like there's a 0 on your screen for how many viewers you have, you never know who could be watching. So perform like the whole world is watching. So I love that. Never know who's listening. Remember that.
Yeah.
So you're also a very, very busy stage performer, obviously. You're making a career out of this, and being a touring musician is paramount to making a career at this, unfortunately, in the 21st century. It used to be you could just write a song, or you could make an album and maybe go out on tour for a season and then just reap the benefits. But that's not how it is now. Now you have
it's 365 now, buddy.
Year round, yep. So let me ask you this, man. As somebody who's super busy on stage, how do you continuously create the personality and humor that you have uniquely to entertain folks over a long period of time without kind of losing focus of how important that is?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to love it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I always tell people, to get on stage, that's the treat. That's the gift of music, that somebody actually thinks enough of us that we're worth to buy a ticket for, or to pay a guarantee for, to play. As you know, in this business now, you have to wear so many hats, right? You got to be a videographer, you got to be an audio engineer, you got to be a marketing expert, right? Like, so you got to be a mechanic, like, to get down the road. All these things, requires so much to get on stage. So when you actually get to do what you want to do, I didn't sign up to be a musician to be a social media guy or videographer. Like, it's just part of my job duties now, right? Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I did sign up to be
necessary evil.
It's the necessary evil, but I did sign up to be a performer and to be able to share my songs on stage. And what a great honor and blessing that is to be able to do so. So when I'm there on stage, like, it's one of those things where it's just, I realize, hey man, number one, there's a lot of other things I could be doing and not enjoying. And this is everything that I'm doing on this stage. Even if I wasn't getting paid, you do it for free because you just love it so much. And I think that right there is the paramount answer for it is just, you have to love it, because if you don't love it, it'll expose you really quick too.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're faking it, people know too, man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So, and that's what I mean, man. I see a lot of really busy performers that are clearly burnt out, right? Like, you can tell, like, they're just going through the motions, and they're still putting on a great show, but you can tell that it's just a job for those folks. And I've seen a lot of live video from you, and I never get that from you ever. I never get that message from you, like you're just going through the motions. And I know how much you perform, so that's why that question made the outline. I just find it so cool that you're always so funny and so personable and
thank you, man.
Down to earth. I love that, and I hope to get to see a live show soon-ish.
Yeah, we got to make that happen, man.
Absolutely, for sure.